This is, okay, girl, okay. Morning, how are we doing? Still at it. Last night I hopped on Instagram and I reckon I said that we'd got 35 calves at that point. This morning, I think we're up to 42 or 3. So they're spitting them out. This one's about a day or so old. And then we've got this one, which was turned up last night about 8 o'clock. And that's Mum just in the background there with a little stubby bit of horn. I'm just off for a bit of a wander around the cows, just to make sure everything's all right. So I thought I'd give us an update as to exactly where we are. So in all transparency, it hasn't all been plain sailing. We've had one mishap. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Considering, what, 40 odd in, can't complain too much, to be honest. It's still been pretty straightforward. Dyson cows have been spitting them out like nobody's business. And there's, I don't know how many's in here now, about 14 to 15. There's one back there that's been born in the night. We're gonna have a look at that. So this is another Dyson. She's spat this out last night. We're getting quite a few black cows with red calves from the Dysons. Not that I'm complaining, because I do like the red ones. If you put a red bull on a red cow, you'll get a red calf, generally. Very rare you get anything else. If you put a red bull on a black cow, most of the time, you're gonna get a black calf. You'll get the odd red calf. These guys are in calf to a black bull, and even the black cows are having red calves, which, whatever, not complaining. As long as they're alive, that's all I'm bothered. But yeah, just a bit of a weird one. So this thing's up and sucked, which is nice. It's just having a bit of breakfast. Look at that. There is a couple more in here that are bound to blow. She's gonna go at some point. Look at the bag on her. This one's bagging up. There is a red one that's just having a bit of silage at the back there that's also really bagged up. So these guys are gonna, there's not gonna be many left in here in a week's time, I wouldn't say. There is one cow in here that isn't a Dyson. Just remember her, we'll talk about her in a bit. She is a complete anus. We'll discuss. Just want to check these water troughs too, because Dad yesterday has been round and replaced all the ball cocks and the valves because they were just running over. Not just this one, all of them. They've been a nightmare. We actually think that it's something to do with the fact that the cows didn't come in so early. So they didn't come into, what was it, like March, beginning of March, end of February. So they've sat so long. So they've sat since like April last year, they've had nothing. So they've pretty much been empty for 10 months. I mean, they've kind of seized up and gone a bit lime scaly, and then they just weren't turning off. So the ball valve wasn't going up, and it wasn't turning the water off. Then the troughs were just pouring water in the yards, and they've been a nightmare this year. The one on the other side of that wall, the one in this yard, and the one in the bottom yard. So we just did the lot. Here's another fresh one. This was born last night. You're a beauty, aren't you? Look at you. You're pretty. Aren't you lovely? That's Mum. Again, another red out of a black, but these ones are our own. So that was to a red bull, so it makes a bit more sense. This is one that was in yesterday. This was born late yesterday, and that's why it's got a tag in it. We have got to get round and just stick a tag in the ones that were born so we know what's what. There is a calf here that was born late yesterday with a tag in it. This one is Mum, and then this one was born as well this morning. So where's your baby? Look at that. What a lovely calf. I love them like that, up and sucked, that's what you want. But the main reason why we're kicking on with calving is because these blue cows have really started to get into gear. They've been a bit slow because the Charolais have got a bit of a longer gestation length. It's complicated for those of you who don't know, but if you have an easier calving animal, gestation length tends to be shorter, which means it's in for less time, which means it's a little bit smaller, which is why it's easier calving. Things that are harder calving generally have a longer gestation length, which means they're a bigger calf, and that's why they're harder to calve. So the stabilizers, being as they spit them out, tend to be a bit quicker, even though we're using easy calving Charolais bulls. So I think we saw these couple last time. These guys have got to go out to grass, but we need to do a bit of fencing to get these guys out. That's a fresh one. There, these two were from yesterday. That was yesterday's, just there. That one's Mum. And then there is another one around here somewhere. We've got to find it. Here it is. This is, okay girl, okay. That's a brute of a calf. Look at the size of it. I think I just spooked her then because she was having some silage. Hell of a bag on her. Bit too much milk, to be honest, but that thing will suck it off. Look at the size of her. You do well. Calved it on its own. Again, no problem. Oh, and there's one here. This one we've seen. This one's just tucked behind the water trough. There is some serious bags getting in here though, so I'd imagine These things will kick on now, and there'll be a lot of calves to come. So at 40 odd calves, we're getting on about a third of the way through, thereabouts. And we've been calving for less than 2 weeks since we had the first one. And officially, we've been only at it for, what day is it today? We've been at it for 6 days. So when we should have started, based on gestation length to where we are today, 6 days. Maternity ward update. So this girl's called Ethel. We got a story to tell about Ethel. So cast your mind back to a minute ago when I said to remember that cow that was in the yard. That cow in the yard is a heifer, first calver. We come down a couple of mornings ago and Ethel was calving. She was in the middle yard. She's an older cow. She didn't seem to be doing a lot, so we gave her an hour. We come back an hour later and nothing's really happening. So we pull her out, we check her, and all we've got is a bum of a calf. So we realise it's coming backwards. There's no feet, the feet are forwards, so we've just got the bum. Call the vet comes, gives her an epidural, pushes the calf forward. It's not a big calf, pops the legs up, pulls the calf out. Unfortunately, the calf was DOA. In hindsight, what we realise is that the calf had probably passed away before she'd even started calving, because as we pulled the calf out, all the cleansing came with it. So all the womb lining, everything, the placenta, all just came with it, which wouldn't normally happen until something has been born. But obviously that had come away before the calf had chance to turn around and before it had been calving. So that's why the calf was probably dead. That was super unfortunate. It's the only issue that we've had. And there's not really anything we could have done about it, to be honest. However, that cow that we said about, there's a complete a-hole, is a heifer and calved that little calf just there. Now, when it was in the yard, she would not have anything to do with it. She is a bit of a nutcase, but sometimes when they calve, they calm down. This one didn't. This one went the opposite direction. You might remember back in the autumn, when we were bringing them back from up the village, we kept having one breakout. No, 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 no! That was this cow. This was the black cow that was the ringleader that kept pushing the hurdles over and jumping and doing whatever else. So she's just off it. Like she's mad in the head. We pulled her out with the calf, put her in the gangway out the back. The calf was sucking on her, but I don't think it was the case that the cow was letting the calf suck. It was just a case that the calf was sucking on the cow. We put them in the top yard so that she was close to the cattle crush. And as soon as it was in there, she just had enough room to get away from the calf and she was not having it. So what we did is we took the calf off of the heifer because she didn't want it and gave it to Ethel because Ethel was desperate for a calf. And ta-da, this is what we've got. So these pair are just in a bonding pen now for a couple of days. She lets it suck and mothers it lovely. She really likes that calf. So hopefully this is a bit of a success story. And that heifer that is a nut job is just gonna go. We're not keeping it because, to be quite honest, that's the kind of animal that will always be breaking out fences, always causing you trouble, always breaking your pens, always jumping the hurdles, always going for you. We're just not having it. She can go. And when I say go, I mean she's going to have to go. We're not selling her to someone else. That is not fair. So she's going to be gone. She's going to have to be culled. Oh, and I've had a bit of a brush up too, which makes it nice and tidy. So all in all, we're getting on all right, but we're trying to get 1,001 other jobs done, and none of us have had time to think.